Good evening, and welcome to the special meeting of the City Council of the City of Moreno Valley Community Services District City as successor agency for the Community Redevelopment Agency of the City of Moreno Valley, the Moreno Valley Housing Authority, and the Board of Library Trustees. The City Council receives a separate stipend for CSD meetings. This meeting was called for the purpose of discussing the draft strategic plan, and I'll call this meeting to order on May 31st at 6:02 p.m. The Pledge of Allegiance will be led by Mr. Bulgaris. If you'll please stand.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, for liberty and justice for all.
And please remain standing for the invocation, which will be given by Pastor Mark Avila from the Calvary Chapel of Moreno Valley.
Please bow your heads and join me in prayer. Heavenly Father, it's an honor to stand here before the City Council and members of the city to lead this time in prayer. And Father, it is our prayer that our council would stand together, always in unity, for the betterment of the citizens of the city of Moreno Valley. And we lift them before you, that you would give them wisdom and discernment in making these decisions for our city. We pray for those who protect and serve the community, those that are in law enforcement and fire. Father God, please protect and watch over them always. And we pray for those who also lead in the city in watching over in various ways in this community. We also pray for the citizens, Lord, that they would become active citizens to promote a better Moreno Valley. We lift this time before you, and we thank you and praise you. And it's in your Son's name we say, amen. All right, thank you.
Roll call, please.
Councilmember Jimson?
Here.
Councilmember Molina?
Present.
Councilmember Price? Mayor Pro Tem Gaiba?
Here.
And Mayor Gutierrez is not here with us this evening.
Staff introductions, please.
Kathy Gross, Executive Assistant.
Leslie Keene, Interim City Clerk.
Marshall Ironman, Chief Financial Officer, City Treasurer.
Michelle Dawson, City Manager.
Tom DeSantis, Assistant City Manager.
Mike Lee, Economic Development Director.
Ahmad Ansari, Public Works Director and City Engineer.
Joel Onabros, Chief of Police.
Abdul Ahmed, Fire Chief.
Gabe Garcia, Parks Community Director.
Alan Brock, Community Development Director.
Thank you all. Now, before we hear public comments this evening, I ask and encourage everyone participating to keep their comments respectful toward others. For those listening in the audience, please be respectful toward the persons who are speaking, even if their views or the way they express their views differ from yours. I do embrace the support of the First Amendment right to free speech, including everyone's right to speak at this meeting and any other meeting, as is his or her views about issues concerning our city. But we can accomplish more as a city and as a private citizens by being civil and respectful toward one another in this meeting. Finally, I ask that those wishing to speak bear in mind that comments are limited to 3 minutes for each speaker, and ask that you refrain from duplicating comments already made by others, other than to note that you agree with the comment. So please complete and submit a lavender speaker slip to the city clerk. All remarks and questions shall be addressed to the presiding officer or to the city council. City clerk, do we have any speaker requests?
Yes, Mayor Pro Tem Gaiba. We have 4 requests on non-agenda items and 4 requests on item A1.
Before we go forward with those and you call them out, we're allowing this two-part to take. Our mayor is not here this evening, and so we will discuss the possibility of tabling this event, but this also gives you all an opportunity to be able to speak in the event we do. So.
The first are the 4 speaking on non-agenda items, and the first is Ian McPherson, followed by Sean Fortin, followed by Rafael Brugueras, followed by Ray Bleckert. Oh, sorry, Roy Bleckert.
Ian's not here, I take it? Ian, you're first.
Ian McPherson.
Go ahead, Ian.
Hello, my name is Ian McPherson. I'm president of the Moreno Valley Public Library Teen Advisory Board, and today I'm here to talk to you about why we should look into creating another branch of the existing Moreno Valley Public Library. So, as many of you know, our library is one of our greatest assets in this community. It ranges from supporting college students and finding jobs to early childhood education, which all of you know is extremely important. But over the years, the Moreno Valley Public Library has been forced to stretch its resources quite thin. In fact, since the library has been built, our population has risen 27%, which has created unforeseen parking issues where there's just not enough parking in our parking lot that people are having to go to different areas to park their vehicles. The growth in technology has limited us because we have fewer outlets than we thought were needed when the library was constructed, so patrons struggle to plug in their devices, so that has been an issue for us. And in a recent survey, most respondents said that a library would be beneficial, especially on the northern side of the city, because the current library is on the southern side of the city, so we could cover as much ground as possible, essentially. So, city councilors, I hope that you look into this issue and take it seriously, because the citizens in your district really, this is something that a lot of the people in our town want and need. So thank you for your time.
Thank you, Ian. I do things a little differently. Since I get the gavel, I get to do it. So I'm all about dialogue. So what I would like to do, because we don't have a lot of speakers, so at this point. So I'd like to ask the council members, starting with Jesse, did you have any comments or questions you had for the speaker?
Yes, I would. The library that we do have, it is, we have we're outsourced to the electronic library out there on the cloud. But I do see a need for a new library. That library should be, like you said, on the north side, because people just don't, it's very centralized. But we have the freeway as a buffer, and the traffic is very terrible. Just going across the street, under the freeway, and it's like, traffic jams. It jams up really bad. We've been trying to get a new library, but we always say we can't staff it. That's why we didn't cover this, in the some of the new things that the people want, and we should have did some outreach, to some of the citizens of what their priorities are. So I would like to see that come up in a next strategic plan, that we start giving back to the population here in Moreno Valley. So thank you very much.
George, your light was on? Or
There's no light, but yeah. I would like to thank you, Ian, for coming. We all got an email from Ian, and I responded back suggesting that he come and speak to council tonight, because this is a topic that concerns the entire community. One of the reasons that, or one of the items that I focused on when I ran for council was expanding our library. I raised kids here in this community, and I remember when there's like 3 books on missions, and there's 50 kids that have to do mission reports. So, and you're right, the freeway is a divider, but we also have a need on the west end where we have a lot of low-income people that can't get to the library. So we have multiple needs, and if we discuss the strategic plan tonight, it is part of the strategic plan. One of the items that we identified that we should work on, and so we'll talk more about that later. But I agree 100%. And thank you very much for serving on the committee and the commission, and thank you for being here tonight to express your concern.
I too agree that there needs to be an expansion regarding the library, and even more so now than before, because now that we have the Veterans Resource Center that's there. A lot of the veterans that I speak to, not all of them, but the ones that are in dire need of services seems to be on the west end. And I say this only because the Veterans Building on March Air Reserve Base off to that side, and just several homeless that recently I spoke with Oasis Community Church, and they have several homeless veterans. And I've shared the information about the library. So I expand on this only because now that we have this resource center at the library, it's in great demand, and a lot of the veterans that are in need cannot get to that library. I've attended the library on several occasions in the last couple of weeks. The computer access was jam-packed. And it is definitely utilized. There was a lot of youth there waiting to use the computer, so I too support the efforts of getting some additional library, either expanding the current library or adding additional sites. I think would be a good thing so that we could make our services accessible to as many people as possible. Thank you.
I may be shooting myself in the foot. But when I asked if you guys had some quick comments, is what I meant. Please keep your comments quick and simple because they get their 3 minutes. You shouldn't get 3 also. Just if you have something simple to say, keep it simple. Or else we will be here all night long. And I'm all about dialogue, but I'm not all about all night long. So, but thank you. Myself, I think last year we discussed a library services district as a possibility. So if we can maybe consider agendizing for a future study session, the possibilities of doing something like that because money doesn't grow on trees. And that might be one way that the city could afford to do that. Just a thought. All right, next person.
Sean 14.
Hi, my name is Sean Fortine, and I had some concerns about the recent reports of overpayments to the city council, and quite frankly, I think the whole issue is a bit overblown. I mean, most of the people that got the overpayments are long gone, and you guys just recently found out about it. So, personally, I'd rather see the issue dropped altogether, and partly because I would hate to see that take attention away from the forensic audit that Councilman Molina mentioned recently, and because, quite frankly, I would love to see what turns up in a forensic audit and just give all the information to someone that has no idea who is who on the city council and see what they come back with. And it'd be great to see it would be great to see who comes out clean and continues their time in public service, and it would be great to see who really has done anything unethical, and it would be a great way to do so in a completely unbiased manner and let that be the end of all the bad news and bad publicity of recent years. So I hope you guys would focus on the forensic audit instead. Thanks.
Thanks, Sean. George, any quick comments? Nope. Jesse, any quick comments? Nope. LaDonna? Notice the word quick was in there this time. Got it. Next one.
Rafael Brugueras.
Good evening, council members, staff, residents of Moreno Valley, and our guests. I want to thank staff for organizing the run that we had yesterday in Moreno Valley. I'm deeply grateful that we had thousands of bikes run through our city. They got to see Sunny Boulevard. I mean, a lot of people talk about some of the money that was spent there, unnecessary, but that big sign was nice to come down off the freeway and run through our city and back out on Heatcott. So I thank the residents that came out and waved. We got to see a lot of new people look at the city in a different way. It was fun. We remember the men and women that gave their lives to us. Like the colonel mentioned, It's not about the living. It was about those that gave their lives to us yesterday. And from this day forward, this is why we can have our First Amendment given at this moment. Sometimes we want to leave well alone. We got audits, recalls, and all these things that come up in our city, because some people are never satisfied to leave things rest. They always want to pick at something. The FBI and the county attorney found nothing wrong with us through a 2-year investigation. We should leave well alone and move on to better things. Our city's been hurt for a lot of years. Finally, we have been coming out of it in the last couple of years. And this is why we have these events, because we want to show people in our region that our city has changed a lot. It's never going to end for those that want our city to fall or to stop. It's never going to end. But I tell you one thing, as long as I'm alive, I'm going to keep fighting for my city, because it's enough is enough. If some people got overpaid, pay it back. If it was a mistake, fix it. That's it. Start using little things to bring down our city, or the men and women that govern over our city. It's a shame that we keep hearing the story over and over and over. We never hear anybody else talk about the good of the city. Oh, it's the negative part of the city. When there's so much good has been done in this city, really. If they come to meetings and see what the staff has been doing with the council members and other agencies, you'll see how much the city has grown. Let's look forward to new things and leave the old stuff buried.
Jesse, any response, remark?
Roy Bleckert? Oh, sorry.
One moment, that's okay.
Sorry.
I do things a little weird, but, we don't have that big a group, and so I want people to have an opportunity. And I know the council many times is biting at the bit to want to respond to something, so I'm giving them an opportunity. Quickly.
If you please, okay. Very quickly, yes, we are going to have the audit. So it's not putting blame on anybody, but just to make sure. It's just about check and balances, that's all.
George, anything? Yeah, this council, thanks to Jesse's insistence that there was something amiss, if it's 8 years here, this council was wise enough to say, fix it and get it repaired and go forward. And I'm very proud of the fact that Jesse didn't give up, and we found the mistake and it was repaired. And city will go on even better stance right now. So, next one.
Roy Bleckert?
Maximizing opportunities. I had the distinct pleasure, along with Deborah Craig of Moreno Valley Matters, in covering the West Coast Thunder Run. It was a very impressive sight. Lasted almost an hour from about 10 to 11 o'clock. If there was 7,000 motorcycles last year, there was well over 10,000 this year. It was a big event. But what we should do in the future is capitalize on this. We have 3 major auto parts stores right in this run, a major shopping center. We could make that an all-day street fair. We could make a big event out of that. Riverside is handing us that on a silver platter, and we're not doing anything. We're not maximizing it. That's what we should be looking forward to in the future. It's about building the city, not tearing it down, not looking backwards, not doing it the way we did it before. It's about improving at every opportunity. Because if we don't do it, nobody else will. That's what we elected you for. You were supposed to be strategically looking at all of this stuff and putting together the big picture. Their job is to fill the details in. I see that lacking, and I think we need to focus and have more determination of how we put this all back and get us moving to the path where we all want to see this city. It's like a library. Talked to George many times about it, brought it up. We have, I think, $5 million in the DIF fund, $11 million in the TUMP. I believe we do not need a district. If we use some innovative ways, tear down some of the regulations and the roadblocks, we could have maybe 1 or 2 libraries spread along the city. If we start looking at all the possibilities and not just the possibilities we might like or we might know about. That's the things we should be focusing on in the future. Because if you don't, we all know what happens. And the people keep coming up here. I mean, Jeff ran in the parade. Raphael was on his Harley. It was a great sight coming through Moreno Valley. And the people on Moreno Valley Matters ate that up. You would not believe the analytics that event attracted. We need to capitalize on that, work on it. That should be one of the focuses in the next year, making that one of the biggest events that ever came through the city.
Jay? That LJ is coming up first. No, if you're going to respond, you respond to what he has. Oh, no. Okay, you didn't. Jesse, do you have anything to say?
No, I agree with Roy that we should capitalize on some of the thunder, the motocross riding, the motorcycles coming through Sunnymead Boulevard. In the past, we've tried to expand that over to Paris Boulevard, but it seems to always end at Heacock. So let's try to get all of historic Sunnymead Boulevard in there, and for the next time, see if we can get them to ride along to all the way down to Paris Boulevard, which this is all historic to our city. It's a historical place. So it's the importance of that is that people get to see and explore more of the city and maybe want to start a business somewhere or see where there are eateries or restaurants or maybe start a new business. There's other places that, that need to be explored from the public out there than there is, just coming by just a little strip of Moreno Valley and off we go. So it would be great. Thank you.
I could talk for 15 minutes on this, but I'll just do a real quick minute. We had the old 395 rededication. They hope to make that into an annual event. Might be a place that we might look at. If we can get the motorcycles to get off on Cactus and ride up the frontage road on 395, that'd be a great kickoff for a street fair. There were a lot of things going on this weekend. There was a soccer tournament, which didn't get publicized, had 75, 80 teams from out of town. We could have, as Roy said, brought them into, given them coupons or discounts or something to come and see what's going on in our community. So we have a lot of opportunities to absolutely ride on it. I've been talking to a lot of people, talked to the soccer people, talked to the 395 people, Keith Mullins. So we'll be working on it, and Roy, keep those ideas coming, and we got to get you involved. I know you were involved in the trash cleanup, but we need to get you involved in this festival type thing. So thank you.
And this is Bill Chamberlain really ramrods this event, and Michelle Dawson, I know that you have very good close contact with Bill and the team and stuff. So, but Gabe, maybe that's something for Parks and Rec to look into for next year, but that's just a thought. I think that all comes together. Do you want to say something?
I know we're keeping it very brief.
No, I'm doing this because I feel this is good.
I know that we've talked to Councilmember Molina before with regard to going all the way to Paris, and it's an excellent idea. I believe we have some public safety issues with regard to closing off so many of the north-south access points for the emergency vehicles, but we will start earlier next year with all of those ideas in our communications with West Coast Thunder.
And we have a year to work it out, right?
If I can add just one thing, because
okay, but now I'm timing you.
Yeah, okay. No, but that reminded me of something. We used to have the 4th of July parade on Sunnymead Boulevard. We had to move it off Sunnymead Boulevard because the businesses complained that there's no way to get in and out. And so their customers were either locked in or locked out till the parade was over. So that may be part of the problem on there, but maybe we could, expanding it on Old 395 and going up, maybe that might work.
We have a new Parks and Community Services Director, and he's got a lot of good ideas. I just know he does.
Way to explode.
Thanks, Gabe. Were there some more speakers?
Those are all the speakers we have on non-agenda items.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. And I figured we didn't have that many, and so we burned more time than this in many ways. And this is a good opportunity for us to have a nice, relaxed conversation. We're now at the special order of business for this meeting, called this draft strategic plan. But before we move forward in that, I want to give the public a chance to speak on this particular issue, and then we could discuss what we'll do with it at that point. So how many speakers do we have on this?
We have 4 speakers. The first would be Tom Gerald, the second Sean Fortin, followed by Rafael Brugueras, followed by Roy Bleckert.
And in the interest, because this is a little bit different discussion, I think we'll just hold it to their comments and not have any discussion from us.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem, council members, members of staff and the public, both here in the chambers and watching at home on TV or on the internet. Thank you for taking our comments. And in a way, I'm going to ditto what the previous speaker said, but it envelopes into our strategic plan. I want to give a big thumbs up, of course, for the Memorial Day service. Very meaningful. It's one of the best things we do in the city, and Veterans Day. I talked to Shanna out in the parking lot before we came in, and she said, it's some people complain we don't get enough people there, but the reality is that whether it's 1 or 500, it's something that needs to be done. Those fighting for our freedom. But beautiful, beautiful service, extremely well done, and of course, Rolling Thunder, incredible. Just excitement, great way to not only kick off summer but to celebrate patriotism. And then the mayor's prayer breakfast, another really good thing. And these are the type I cite these under this strategic plan because these are the type of community events, and you're on the right track, that need to be integrated into our planning, into our budgeting, and we are doing it. But I think the key word is expand. Let's grow them. I agree with Mr. Bleckert. Let's make them bigger, better, more exciting. There's a lot here, and so that's all good. And these are the type of things that really build community, really develop the fabric of the community. So I'm a big supporter of these and other events, and there's many, many good things going on in the city. But one issue I wanted to address, and it kind of comes under quality of life that I see coming down like a freight train, is the marijuana issue. We're in the process of an eviction of a guy that snookered us, just defrauded us, period, on their use. And so hopefully that'll be done soon. But bottom line is there'll be something on the ballot. And how that's written, it's going to be a big, big impact. And it's not something we can put our heads under the sheets we've got to deal with. And I get a lot of calls. And they started about 6 years ago. And then they were real sneaky. But, and they come in, we're a health food store, we're holistics, we're alternative medicine, a variety of things. Slowly they got at least a little more honest. But they've gone from being sneaky to honest to downright bold, argumentative. I had a call a week ago, or just the end of last week. This guy, man, he's ready to take it to the Supreme Court and out of Florida. And the city doesn't know what they're talking about. They have no right to stop this, blah, blah, blah. We can indemnify the builders. We can bond you for court cases. They were coming on strong. So it's an issue under our quality of life, under our planning, that you, as community leaders, need to take a hard look at and deal with properly. Thank you.
Thank you, Tom.
Sean Fortin.
I didn't really have time to go over all the notes for things I wanted to discuss about the strategic plan, but for the first one would be, I noticed there was a lot about logistics and a lot of references to the World Logistics Center, and I'd hope that the city staff would publish a list of people that were involved in creating that report but because that's going to sink a lot of resources into to one business venture, and a business venture is not 100% certain to succeed. And but more interestingly, of more concern is I also didn't see a whole lot about recreational land use, because we've got some land around here that's great for various recreational activities that seems to be underutilized. And also, I noticed that there were some possibilities for increased substance abuse and mental health services that I didn't see listed that might be worth looking into to address some of the social issues that that are affecting the city, along with the economic issues. And unfortunately, I don't have enough time to really elaborate on all that right now. So, thanks.
Thank you, Sean. Next.
Rafael Brugueras.
Good evening again, council members, staff, guests, residents of Moreno Valley. I want to read something because I downloaded it from the agenda, from the Moreno website on the agenda. And they do a great job by informing us of the things that they want to do for the city of Moreno Valley. And we're going to talk about it. It's called Beautification, Community Engagement, and Quality of Life. This is one of the things that the city of Moreno Valley and the residents came and they talked about. And it's on the list of one of 6, okay? Promote an activity and engagement committee where we work together to beautify our shared environment, care for each other, and enjoy access to cultural and recreational amenities that support a high quality of life for all the residents as it goes on. Okay? Now, he mentioned that some things were not mentioned. They were mentioned. Now, he mentioned not a lot, but there were mentioned some. Okay? There was some mentioned. Now, he talked about the World Logistics Center. That was mentioned. That was one of the highest priority of the people that wanted it. Not everybody wanted it, but it was a high priority of the people that wanted it. I was here. There must have been 200 plus people that were here. If the rest of the residents of Moreno Valley would have been here, they could have spoken and maybe changed it, but they were not here. So those that spoke got to see what happened, okay? Again, if you go to the Moreno Valley website and download your own 35 pages like I did, you can go over it one by one. And then maybe next time when there's another study section, you can speak on it. But they did well. Now, there might have been a disagreement in the beginning when we first met, but those are bygones be bygones. I thank them both for bringing forth the paperwork and completing their work for us. It's up to us now, the council members and the residents, to get this job done. And it starts with jobs. The World Logistics Center is one of many things that are happening in the city of Moreno Valley. They are the biggest company that can support a lot of jobs at one time, okay? We're talking about 27,000 jobs. And that's not even talking about the millions of dollars of revenue that can build another library, another firehouse, another police station, fix another road, okay? One thing that we're going to learn, and I admire Ethan for coming up and speaking, what he's going to learn, it takes money. If the general fund doesn't have money, we cannot build nothing. So one thing he needs to do is complete his education so he can find a job. I hope he'll be in the city of Moreno Valley doing something constructive for himself and for the people of Moreno Valley.
Roy Bleckert.
Bill.
We have a plan in place called the Economic Development Plan. Working very well. It was implemented about 2011. Reconstructed Nason Street, built the bridge, put the infrastructure in. Now we have what's called Riverside University Medical Center. The county is now expanding that with a 33-acre site. What we should be focusing on. We should not be reinventing the wheel. We have hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars of consultant studies that are sitting on the shelf that went nowhere, or even delayed or stopped projects that hurt the city. What we should do, imagine if we did this. The money that was spent on the strategic plan was put to building a West Coast Thunder event, building an economic opportunity area in Edgemont or Central Sunnymead to revitalize that area. That's what you should be focusing on, not doing the same thing over and over again and hoping for a different result. If I can get one thing accomplished, if I can get you to look beyond the hood ornament and look 2 miles down the road where we should be, all the things that have been talked about will come to fruition, and they will come to fruition very quickly at a light speed that you would not believe. Because I've sat with a lot of you and a lot of different factions in this community, and it's coming together, and a lot of people are putting the past grudges behind them and starting to work together. That needs to be capitalized on and maximized. It starts up there as far as leadership in our city. You all need to focus in. You need to lay some of those differences that are behind. Some of the animosity that I've been aware of that goes on. Because it's not benefiting this community. In the future, I hope that will sink in. And I hope it will change the direction. And I hope that with your help, that we can focus this, and that will spread through the community, and you will see, if that happens, and if that attitude changes, the walls we can knock down, we will rebuild them faster. We will not be burning down bridges, we will be rebuilding them. And that's how you will build a successful community, one you can be proud of.
Thank you, Roy.
That concludes the request to speak on this item.
Concludes. Thank you very much. We proceed. First of all, I have to make an apology to the community at large. I really intended to be at the last meeting and wished I could have been there to participate. It should be all 5 that have their say so, but I had some things that were pre-scheduled and I could not cancel them. So that kind of left me out of the discussion. And so therefore, understanding how important this is to the mayor and the mayor being ill this evening, I think it would be prudent for us to put this aside until all 5 can sit and discuss it appropriately. So I would be calling for a motion to table until a date uncertain.
So moved.
Second.
We have discussion?
Sure.
My concern, I agree, I support it.
Thank
But I think what needs to be sooner than later. I think if at all possible, even if it's on another date, that we do it before our break. I think it's, this is important. As Roy pointed out, there have been studies that have been done and sit on the shelf. That's one reason I'm pushing the Nason corridor. I'm not going to let that thing get any dust, at least while I'm on the council. So I don't want to see this stop. I don't want to see it sidetracked. I would really like to see it put as on right the front of the list and addressed as soon as possible, if you don't mind. Thank you.
Anybody else? This really wasn't supposed to be for discussion. We could discuss that later, but if you wish to have that discussion, that's okay. That's fine.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, that should have been for discussion, but, there is a vote.
Did you have anything you wanted to add to that at all? So
All 5 of us.
I will give you a chance to speak also.
Yeah, I just want to emphasize the importance of a strategic plan which is going to provide 3 to 5 years of guidance for the city council to look at in the top priorities. I think it's something that all 5 city council members, Mayor Pro Tem included, need to be present for. Even our residents stated that what's the rush? If you're going to do it right the first time. And so, but I do agree with Councilmember Price. We need to put this in the beginning as soon as possible. I prefer it being before we go dark for our month that some of us are away or whatever. We're not conducting official business, but I too support that as long as we do it quickly.
Well, I always said to myself, what is the big rush, to get this down? The economic development plan is working really good right now. We're making a decision for the next 5 years, for a council for the next 5 years that we don't know. I probably won't be here, so we don't know if any of these 3 other council members are going to be here. So that's a decision that we're making down the line for other people. So I think that we're rushing into this. And I think that it's an election year, and we should put this aside for now and wait for the new council to come in.
Thank you. I don't see the reason for the rush, and I agree with LJ. If we're going to do it, we're going to do it right. And the feedback I've gotten back from a lot of the residents was we probably put more effort and time. I know we did for the Paris realignment I had requested, and we had 6 outreaches to the community. We had 2 meetings in here, and I was not at the one, but from what I heard from the residents, that didn't go real well. If we are going to get the input from the residents, we should be reaching out to all 5 councilmanic districts and getting their different viewpoints, because as LJ will always point out to us, is Edgemont has very different concerns than 3rd district or 4th district or 5th district or 2nd district. And I don't think we've had enough outreach. When I was reading over this plan, which I finally got a hold of, you had 357 responses in a city of 206,000. And you're establishing a report that's supposed to go for 3 to 5 years with a council who may not be here within the next few months. And I know that if I was running for mayor right now, and we have at least 2, maybe 3 people even on our own council, I would love to have had some input into this 3 to 5 year plan for this year. So to me, I would love to table it until after the election times, but that's a discussion we can all have at some other point. And there are a lot of other concerns that I have, and the residents have brought them forward to me on the way and the manner this has been put forth. So I believe in a strategic plan. I think it's an exceptionally good idea to do. I just don't think it's wise right now. Yes, you wanted to say something, Manager?
May I?
Oh, absolutely.
I appreciate
You're
I'll
here
keep
too,
my
you know.
comments brief, but just in response to that, with regard to the community input, from a city manager perspective, I've been thrilled with the level of community engagement in this process. We had, I believe, over 80 people attend each of the 2 community meetings. As you indicated, we do large street improvements, and we can't get 80 people here under any circumstances. And of course, the online survey, 350 responses is huge for this community. The perspective that I put it in is we had several nights of public hearings for the largest logistics center in the world, certainly in the United States. We didn't have that many people speak with regard to that at the council public hearings on that huge project. So from a staff perspective, we've been thrilled with the level of community involvement in this. And with regard to an election year and perhaps having different faces up there in 2017 and beyond, I think if you look at the strategic plan, the priorities that are indicated as the top 6 priorities, those came from actually all of you. All of you met with the facilitators, I believe at least on 2 occasions. Your input is in there. They also came from the responses to the surveys as well as the community input at those meetings. Those priorities, though, I believe, while the foundation for moving forward for the next 3 to 5 years is very strong, I believe the plan does give enough flexibility in terms of the objectives and specific task assignments as well. This is something that we intend to be dynamic. This is something that we hope that you will review every 6 months or so, but we will keep you updated as to the status on all of those objectives and initiatives constantly. I hope to include a status with regard to strategic plan in our staff reports. That's what I wanted to say with regard to, again, with those priorities. I think that they are such that future councils can certainly get behind them. Economic development, that's never going to not be a priority for a council, public safety, and as well as the other 4. But thank you, I appreciate you letting me have some time.
Absolutely.
Thanks
Not
much.
a problem. So this will give us some opportunity to discuss when the next, whether it's early or late, and find out when we have. But for the time being, we can table that to a date uncertain until we certainly have a date. Is that fair enough? Can we take the vote? Oh, I'm sorry.
Mayor Pro Tem, if I could just clarify, would it be okay if we just have a motion to table to the future?
Yes,
Okay, thank
if
you.
that's appropriate.
Motion to table to the future?
Second. You seconded it, right? Vote. The motion moves, the 4-0, and we'll work on when that next date will be and how that will go down. So that's the last one we have on our meeting before I adjourn this evening. I would like to give each one of you a quick opportunity for a wrap-up, if you'd like. Well, you know, it is a study session. Study sessions are not as formal, so enjoy yourselves if you need to. But remember, it is an election year, George. I get it. So go ahead, you start first, George.
Well, the West Coast Thunder was mentioned, and I just want to congratulate everybody who was involved in putting that thing together. And Rafael, congratulations on riding a motorcycle in it. I didn't see you wave at me. I probably didn't recognize you under that helmet, but it was a tremendous event for our community. And Roy is absolutely correct, and it's been mentioned before that we need to try to capitalize on that. There was a big tournament in town. ASO had 75 to 80 teams, over 800 kids playing soccer this past weekend. They had a parachutist, actually 3 parachutists come down with the American flag. They had a veterans motorcycle group out there. There's a lot of great things. The old 395 dedication, I know that's LaDonna's district, so I don't want to steal our thunder, but I got to see some old friends there, and that's terrific. And I hope that we can grow these events. We're still, and for years we have fought this. Temecula has the balloon festival. Riverside has something every other week. Paris has the railroad days or whatever it is. Our signature event is 4th of July. It'd be nice to come up with another one. And a lot has been mentioned about the new Parks and Recreation Director. Hopefully we can get input from the community if you have any ideas. I think we've got a great start here with this Memorial Day event, and we have an opportunity where we have a place where we can probably shut down the street without too much of a hassle. So, and I would be remiss if I didn't comment on our event. I think our event is always very meaningful, very. You just get a lump in your throat every year, when the speakers speak. And my father, I bought a paver for my father. It's there at the Veterans Memorial, so I stopped by that, and the speaker was right. It's about those who gave their life to give us the freedoms that we have, and want to really thank everybody in the city who was involved in putting together our event. I would only recommend that suggestion would be, let's have tent coverage or all the way across there for people, because boy, I don't know what it is, but on Memorial Day it always gets hot. So, look at Jeff's forehead. So that would be my only suggestion. Other than that, it was a great event. Thank you everybody who was involved with it.
I really don't have that much hair on top, believe it or not, so that got burned too.
Tell me about it.
I got
Yes.
burnt. I got burnt.
I know.
Yes, I watched the West Coast Thunder go by on Van Buren Boulevard, and I was stuck in traffic. I was stuck. I was going to the memorial services at the cemetery, and after that, went to go see my father there at his grave, and couldn't get out of the cemetery. So it was just like 4th of July. So only had time to make it home for a few minutes and then come back out to this one here. So if I was all red and sweaty and stuff, that was because I was doing a lot of running around. Anyways, there should be some capitalization on some of these ideas that we all have. I know they're not new, but we should take advantage of them. I'll call it if we only had a casino, you know. If we only had a casino where the motorcycles, yeah. But we're not. I guess we're not Native Americans, so we'll come up with something. We can do it on Ironwood. Ironwood Boulevard is just as good as Sunnymead. So, okay, thank you very much, and I want to thank all of you for attending.
Okay, I'm very appreciative of all the leaders of our faith-based organizations that came out on Thursday, joined the mayor and myself. And it was a brainstorm from Bishop Owens, but it was wonderful. They actually prayed over our city, they prayed over our nation, and it was all in observance of National Day of Prayer. So appreciative of that, because we could never have too much prayer. Also, I want to thank everyone who came out for the community cleanup. I cannot tell you, 234 people is the group that was counted. And it was wonderful to have everyone come together and just really get down and dirty to clean up the old 215, which is now 395. So very appreciative of Melissa Martinez and her efforts in ensuring that happened, and everyone who helped support that. Appreciate that. Also, wonderful memorial service. It's already been said about our memorial service here at the Riverside National Cemetery. Wonderful speakers, and it's just amazing how much we have so close to us, and sometimes I think we take advantage of it, or we really don't know. Just want to finish off with one last item. We voted for, with one absence, in regards to the strategic plan, and we're going to have another meeting. I just want to encourage my co-council members, and I spoke to other people that are running and also other residents in our community. And we all know, usually the first 2 years of being in our council position, we're getting acclimated to policies, procedures, and putting out fires, just responding to our residents. We don't get our feet wet until the end of at least the first 2 years. Those people that I spoke to would love to have a foundation to work from. So I'm hoping that my co-council members will make this a priority to get it on the calendar as soon as possible and do everything possible for all 5 to be there. Thank you.
And I guess it's my turn. I got to ride in the parade. That's all way cool, except for one thing. I'm up in the front and I don't get to see all the motorcycles. And Raphael was in that parade. Where are you, Raphael? Are you here? Okay, he was in that parade. And by the way, I want to shout out a good thing for Raphael. While he was there, he was waiting at the beginning over there in front of the Harley-Davidson, and there were some gentlemen that were running for public office that were there. And I said, you know, if you're curious, why don't you go talk to him? And he did. So sometimes those events are opportunities for you to get together other points of view that you may have never ordinarily had the chance to do. So my hat's off to you, Raphael, and you can share that with anybody else you want to do. What's that?
Lori Stone wrote it.
Yeah?
You didn't get to see her either.
Lori Stone.
Lori Stone.
Oh, she must have been way back behind me then. I was number 14. It's on my door. Yeah, I was there with Stan Sniff, you know, and Takano was there. And so it was a great opportunity for everybody to participate regionally as well as locally. I'm disappointed that the mayor couldn't be here and we'd have 5 people. I know it's dear to his heart to work on this project at whatever time he wishes to do that. I too have spoken to a lot of community, and they didn't give me the same kind of response as LJ had mentioned. Some of them said, I didn't know anything about it, and I wished I had, and I wish I could have weighed in on it. And so I'm taking, you know, you made a very valid point. The community needs to be able to weigh in on these and have communications on these things. And as a matter of fact, what came to mind after talking to some of the commissioners, we didn't even confer with the commissioners on this plan. And their input is also valuable. You made that very clear. I don't have a problem whatsoever of stepping back and taking our time and doing it right, whatever that time frame might be. But rushing to things is not a wise thing to do. And I know the mayor is on board with doing a good job on this project, and so I'm just reflecting his concerns, and I wanted him here, and I think he needs to be at the next one, whenever that might be. That being said, anything else anybody wants to chirp in on before we leave? Staff, any comments you want to throw at us? Look, we're getting out of here at an early hour. Here's your chance, okay? If not, may I adjourn this? And adjourn.